ladies and gentlemen. This is a chess show on Pod TV. My name is Sasha Star, and we have distinguished guest today, Professor Ken Regan. Welcome to the show.
Yes, hello from New Jersey again. I'm about to try to get back to Buffalo, but there's snow bands in the way.
Oh, I see. So you have time to change your mind still.
That's right. Yes.
It's not going to be required. And Jim Eat from Eat Foundation. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you, Sasha. Great to be here.
Great to
Yeah.
have you. Okay, so let's come back to chess because we discussed in an earlier show artificial intelligence and so on. Nobody mentioned chess. That in chess, artificial intelligence actually has been now for some time,
Yeah.
frankly, and I really don't see how to enhance the artificial intelligence in chess. I think, Ken, maybe you have some idea that could be done.
Well, if you want me to go way back in history, chess was the first object of interest for AI, as
Absolutely.
defined in papers by Alan Turing, and it's been a go-to application. The term that Herbert Simon used was the fruit fly of AI, the Drosophila of AI. And it's still, I've been able to show some new things using chess, although chess is not typical of the kind of application by which AI has been wowing us in the past year plus with the large language models and their now fusion with drawing models. So the fact that we can say a few words and it will automatically produce a very detailed illustration of what we were saying or an evocation of what we are saying is where AI is diffusing into the realm of art and creativity in an unanticipated way. Uh, my colleague Scott Aronson said, AI is succeeding at the areas that we would have most thought were examples of human creativity, art most in particular, and having trouble with the more mundane ones. Still, AI still seems a long way from genuine common sense.
But so, if it's to come to artificial intelligence phenomena, and some people on a show earlier today, they were saying that there is no area where artificial intelligence cannot be used, and essentially they can do mundane tasks. Let's see if you want to write an article on certain theme. It will research everything what is being ever written about the subject, and they will prepare all the materials and so on. And in fact, it can publish the article itself without any of your help. And in that case, I don't understand what would make person the author of that article rather than the operator of the machine that will create
machine. That is a major difficulty. And so far, the writing by AI is rather sing-song. So it's not. It's school quality. I'm sure teachers grade these sort of things all the time, but it's not clear that you can really write print quality articles with AI. But hey, it's still also very early.
And I think that people on purpose not develop the writing abilities of AI simply because a lot of them will be out of jobs. Or take another example. Let's see as you know, the Supreme Court of Colorado make ruling that all 7 out of 7 came with the ruling that Trump was involved in insurrection. Then 4-3 decision was that therefore he cannot be on a ballot in Colorado. Let's say a Supreme Court will, first of all, if it will present all the facts, first of all, the Constitution, second of all, the ruling of the Colorado court and why and how they arrived at that ruling. So if it's a purely on artificial intelligent basis, I have no doubts that the Supreme Court would rule that obviously the ruling of Supreme Court of Colorado stays. That's question number 1. Question number 2, if Supreme Court will say that no, Supreme Court of Colorado is wrong in their ruling and Trump has to be on the ballot. So what then if Supreme Court of Colorado will take a line that the election is a state affair and regulated by state. Therefore, there is no ruling of the ruling of Supreme Court of the U.S. is required because it's a state affair. Furthermore, they have business in
That
state
doesn't work.
of election of Colorado, and they can do anything what they want. We are going to keep, as the Supreme Court of Colorado, we are going to keep our ruling in the state of Colorado, and that's the end of story. Thank you. Bye-bye.
No, the interpretation has been that matters of national elections, even though administered within states, present a compelling interest to the rest of the country. And in fact, actually, the elections clause does give federal power to oversee elections. The Constitution is written in a way that both local and federal oversight of national elections.
It's very unclear. It's very unclear because
It is. It's present.
it's a state's matter. On the other hand, it's overseen by federal. And then what takes a precedent? Who is who needs a Supreme Court of Colorado ruling if there is still Supreme Court of U.S. which can completely override it? Then why do they waste their time?
Well, this usually the U.S. Supreme Court exercises deference. It is a larger issue. There has to be a really good reason to overrule. This is again the orientation of the understanding of how U.S. law applies in these cases.
But do you think there is a good reason to overrule Colorado decision?
Well, I will be very upset if the finding of insurrection is not upheld. As I said, that was 7-0. The question then devolves upon what was the intent of the Civil War era law.
14th Amendment.
14th Amendment, yes, or the intent of the 14th Amendment. I personally agree with Judge Luttig that the intent was to bar someone like Trump, because I don't think that you have to have an organized army as your threat. That there were at the time pockets of people who might try to foment another revolt, and that Trump represents such a pocket of person of large scale. So I actually I believe that the Colorado ruling should be upheld, but it's that would also surprise me. The Supreme Court goes through with it. The other thing to understand about the U.S. Supreme Court is that their orientation always is that these matters need to be resolved by the people, by Congress, however dysfunctional Congress is. So this is a matter that Congress could have, and I think should have, resolved by not only convicting Donald Trump after January 6th, but also barring him from office. Supreme Court would have no problem and no way to undo that, because it's completely consistent with their recent and historical jurisprudence that these matters are supposed to be resolved by the people's representatives.
But then the next question would be how impartial Supreme Court is if 3 out of 9 judges were appointed by Trump personally. So
yes, for which the most damning words come from Trump. He recently said that the 3 people who I appointed, they better remember, or whatever, however he said. He certainly.
Jim, what do you think about this?
Well, I think one. Oh, Ken is still trying to speak. But in any case, I'll talk over you, Ken. The issue of states versus national interests, that's a fuzzy area.
And I also think that Clarence Thomas should recuse himself. Organized otherwise.
Well, absolutely. 100%. I agree with that. His wife was part of the insurrection. So how he could not recuse himself is beyond me. But the other thing I wanted to say about this is it was very clear that one of the great things about American democracy, U.S. democracy, was that we always had a peaceful transfer of power. That is until Trump.
Yes.
Trump abused that. and he has not yet been held accountable for that. And so the wheels of justice sometimes turn slowly.
And your word peaceful is very important there. Yeah.
Yes. And so it was anything but when he attempted to stop the certification of the election, and his cries of fraud. Remember, he cried fraud when Ted Cruz beat him in Iowa in 2016. This is a guy crying wolf once too often. He's always in the right and everybody else is wrong. But in any case, I don't have a problem with leaving it up to the U.S. citizens to elect him. I don't have a problem with him being stricken from the ballot or being allowed to be on the ballot. I think the 14th Amendment is pretty clear in language in that he was involved in an insurrection. And if you find that that's true, then he can't hold office. And but the Supreme Court will find wiggle room. They'll say, well, president is not an officer. That just is absurd on its face to me. But what they'll probably do is punt. They probably won't make a decision. They'll say or they will postpone the decision until the next term, which will be after the election. So, they have too many people that have a political interest in this now. And the Supreme Court used to be above political, or we used to think it was above political interests. But this Supreme Court has been corrupted. And it was by the Senate Majority Leader McConnell at the time when he prevented Obama from appointing a Supreme Court judge. And then he rushed one in so that Biden was not allowed to have an appointment.
Yes.
So whatever argument he made, you can't have it both ways. And he did.
That's right.
So,
but how Supreme Court could adjourn their decision on total immunity of the president? That is so important issue, because if indeed he is, according to Supreme Court, for example, he indeed has immunity. So then all these lawsuits, what are all the charges against Trump, they have to be null and void because he cannot be prosecuted anyway. So why to spend so much time and efforts on these indictments?
Yeah. Well, the immunity issue is a separate question, and the immunity issue is also absurd on its face. Obviously a president can't be immune. He can't shoot his political rivals or imprison them. And then, that's an autocratic state. That's not a democracy. So, you have to be able to hold people accountable. Nobody is above the law in this country. And that's what we've been taught. And we have to really put our actions where our words are and act on the principles that this country was founded on. No one
a large majority of Republicans think Trump is being singled out unfairly. That's what's really distressing.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I remember in one of his writings, Trump mentioned that if he wouldn't have so many talents in business and everywhere else, and he would concentrate on chess, he would definitely become a chess champion because he was very promising in school and he was winning all tournaments and all that stuff. So it would be maybe a lesser of evil if Trump would become a chess player. I think he could go probably as high as 2,200. Maybe even more, so he would become, legitimate.
Well, you think more highly of him than I do. I don't think he has the ability to concentrate long enough to be a chess master.
Yeah,
maybe that's another reason why he never progressed much in chess. Well, however, we have still many other chess players who did excel in chess, starting from Carlsen, and now, although he's not playing in Weekend Z, but this tournament now in front of everything else. And I still believe that these mixed tournaments, unlike the elite tournaments where they have all 2,800 players only, and here they have a mix of very strong players, elite players, and yet some lesser known names. And they're holding their own. If you remember Alexander Donchenko, he used to play in Chess Star contests, and some very interesting games, especially his game against Shirov. That was a very, very interesting, very tactical game. And Donchenko holds his own. I think he's playing somewhat better than his rating would suggest. And many other games are quite interesting. So far, I think Firuja is doing very well, Giri. And Ken, what is your opinion about the level of top games in Vikings?
It's very much on par, even though it has been a black time
Yeah.
for. Even though Black has won a great majority of the games, and they have teed up an enterprising win by Black to show from the third round. So that's amazing. But no, the quality is exactly on target. So
Mhm.
Before I came on the show, I was watching Nepo playing Black, and it looked like he was going to win. So he might get back into it. But one of and it's just because of his interviews, I've enjoyed Geary and listening to him talk. Is entertaining. He seems to have a sense of humor, and he's not rated that highly. But I think he was 3.5 out of 5, right, or something like that. He was doing
yeah, he's defending champion. So
yeah. And Ding is not doing that well. He's doing middle of the pack kind of.
He's won a game and lost a game to Pragnananda, which also is an interesting game, although it doesn't have as many fireworks as the game I have. But
you have teed up.
Well, speaking about games, would you like to show us?
I will show it if we get away from such weighty matters as the Supreme Court. Incidentally, by the way, of much greater impact, the U.S. Supreme Court seems poised to get rid of Chevron deference.
Oh yeah, that's a very disturbing possibility, and it seems likely.
Yeah. As of yesterday's arguments. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is Magsudlu versus Norbek Abdusattorov, two up-and-coming stars, although Magsudlu did not make it into the candidates. And he maybe is one more hill he has to get over in order to become one of the true elites, and maybe this game shows why. I'm not going to look for engine evaluations. The game was so crazy. Well, that's probably when they are more meaningful. But I'm just going to try and put this from a human point of view, what is going on.
That's fair enough.
So, yeah. So anyway, so English opening, and the English opening can have quiet positional chess, but it generally does not if White provokes Black into playing e4 at move 3 and Black takes up the challenge. So now play revolves for a little while over whether Black can maintain the pawn. And here's something I didn't know. I don't know when this came into into theory, but Black does not have to defend this pawn right away. If White captures, Black is going to get an initiative with activity with all the pieces, while White's bishops are still not developed. White will have only played with Dance of the Knights, and apparently that's been looked upon as fine. So White plays a challenging move. So already at move 5, they're challenging. The idea of Queen A4, besides that the queen cannot be immediately disturbed, is that if Black plays D5 and White captures, Black's C pawn is pinned. So Black's E pawn is once again under threat. So now Abdusattorov protects it, and rather than try and pile up on it, White decides to eliminate it. And we get this very interesting position where White has more pawns in the center, but they're in danger of becoming backward, as can happen here. So what's going on in this position? This probably is known theory at this point. So White advances in the center, and now C5, very interesting move. If White played normal chess like G3 and Bishop G2, then Black would castle and play D5, and White's E pawn would be backward, and Black would have a comfortable hold on the center. So to try to prevent Black from getting a hold on the center, White plays this move, where D5 would result in an en passant capture. But actually, even more to the point, after Black understandably castles, White has Bishop F4. And now that's really clamping down on the D6 square. So the question is, what other counterplay can Black get? In particular, can Black exploit the latent weaknesses in White's pawn structure and the uncastled king? And most in particular, does black have to safeguard his rook on f8?
Wow.
Oh, white played queen d6, black played queen e3, and now the computer does say that yes, white can get away with capturing on f8 and should do so, but you might have a dark square nightmare. Lots of potentially weak dark squares in the position. So white decides, therefore, to shore up the relevant squares, attacks black's queen, and now does not take the rook, but brings the knight around. You've seen the eval bar go down. So now black has gotten away with this phase of risky play and now plays rook e8. And the computer says black is fine over the board, maybe not so clear.
Take the rook.
And this is what's, you got to take the rook. Well, white incides. This move really shocks me because white is going for a completely phantom attack on black's king.
Right.
Although I will take that back. There is one point to this move. It allows white's rook to develop on h3, where there's no prospect of black's bishop on c8 ever menacing that square. And the rook actually could be very useful on the third rank.
Okay.
So, but this is certainly chess from an alien planet at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. H4 to do the rook lift is a beginner's strategy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So black does a more understandable pawn lift, trying to pry away at white's queen side. Now white goes to g5, attacking black's queen. And now black puts the queen on the wrong square. So this is a miscue. Actually, I will
d5?
Well, d5, you worry about it getting trapped in that square, but that is indeed where black should have. And then strangely, this is again, computers are inscrutable. It says black should go to d5, and then after white castles, voluntarily put the queen on f5, even though it's not attacked. Okay, so these are where chess becomes inscrutable.
Yes.
So, what's wrong with queen f5 with
immediately?
White's e8? Yeah. Well,
that
G4.
okay.
So I guess so the point is that with white's king castled, then queen f5 would be attacking the knight on f2. So
I get it. I see.
Wouldn't have this resource, and apparently black misapprehended whether black can capture the pawn or not, and now puts the queen on d5. The problem is the queen on d5 now is going to be vulnerable to being hit. So now white castles, and black can't play the queen to f5, so black is in trouble. Suddenly white's army is coming to life, and in fact black voluntarily gives away a piece. This is implicitly a piece sacrifice already, because there's no place for black's queen to go. Black's queen has trapped itself in the middle of the board by undercover discovery.
It's so hard to do. Yeah. But
so black captures here, hitting white's queen. And now here's where Magsulu made a key calculation error, as you can see from the winning move in this case is queen a3.
Right.
Okay.
That makes sense, right?
And the real reason is that it holds on to the a2 pawn.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe that is something that should be thought of as being dead simple. I don't know what led Magsulu to prefer to bring the queen to c2. Maybe he thought, okay, look, black can give a couple of checks, but
why give up the a pawn? It doesn't seem like I don't understand the reasoning behind queen c2. I must be missing something that prevent. Why wouldn't you protect the a2 pawn?
Right.
I don't understand.
I mean, white has dreams of playing a4 and bishop c4 here, but black is able to move his pieces too.
Right.
So black plays
always an uncomfortable realization for me.
White comes up with b4, trying to clamp down and clear out. This is already. I'm quite sure that Magsulu's idea was not to go walk east with the king like this.
Right.
So no, black activates pieces, and now white does come up with the
point behind h4.
Right. The point behind h4. But watch what black does. this is one of the
Wow.
candidate for move of the tournament. So I should have let it
Wow.
be.
Yeah.
Let you see. So you're expecting black is where can black move the queen? The only place is A6, and then E4 would be
E4. Yeah. Right.
So
Well, I did not see rook E3 coming, but
yes,
I see the potential now.
yeah. So this is this is a star move here.
Yeah.
So and if white captures with the bishop, then queen takes b4 check, and white's king is not going to have anywhere to hide.
Right.
So so white played knight e4, trying to get pieces to cover c3, and now black captures the rook. And this move again is very accurate. So it's attacking white's knight so that the bishop will be undefended. And knight f3 was not the way to stay in the game. But let's see, what was the way to stay in the game? It was to capture on f7 and try to expose black's king as well. Anyway, knight f3.
That looks hopeless to me.
Yeah, now this is going, and the white's position now visibly falls apart. So d5, black is finally able to activate. The bishop on c8 is finally making its presence felt, and white tried to duck for cover, but
ouch.
And here white gave up because white's king is completely denuded, and also black is ahead 4 pawns. We haven't been counting little guys in this game, but black is actually ahead 4 of them, so white gave up.
Rook e3, star move. Why didn't he play rook takes rook though instead of?
Yeah, let's go back to that.
Not saying that he would have survived. Obviously, this is a well calculated move, but
yeah,
I was looking at that.
Black obviously plays knight takes rook,
and he got the same problem with queen takes b4 check if he recaptures. Right?
Yeah, we've got a family fork happening here. Yeah, the computer says white should bail out with queen d3, and queen d3, and white is going to be the equivalent of down an exchange, down 2 pieces for a rook and an absolute fistful of pawns. So that was the way to try to fight. But
queen b2 probably wins on a spot after queen d3. Queen b2 is very strong in my opinion.
Let's see, queen d3. Well, queen b2, the knight's hanging. Is going to really hunt down white's king after that? Yeah, white can just take the knight with king takes e3.
King takes e3.
Yeah. So you do it. You trade and take on d1, and actually it's let's see, it's queen takes d3, knight takes d3, knight takes d1, and there seems to be. I guess white doesn't have to recapture right away. No, okay, white can play. White does recapture right away, and white plays a5, and okay. I mean, it's still a fight. Black has 3 pawns, rook and 3 pawns for 2 pieces. Black does have 2 nice bishops, so this has got to be judged better for black. But like I said, still a fight.
I agree. It does look much better for black, but this is still a game. You can still fight out, but okay.
All anyway, so let's just take a peek at what's happening in round 5, and
I was looking at Nepo's game. That looked like a real shot had been played in that one too, but that was right before I came on air, so I didn't see the conclusion.
Let's see. Well, actually, Nepomniachtchi is now losing. So this is in fact, this is just dead for black. Wow, what happened here?
I don't know.
This is just dead for black. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's see where the let's scroll back to where black was doing.
C6. Right when he played knight takes c6 and then rook takes d5, I thought he had a better position. I don't remember what move that was though.
Okay, let's see. Earlier in the game, or
no, further on because he hasn't captured on c6 yet. So
okay. Oh, I see.
Keep going until he takes knight takes c6. Yeah.
So this is an interesting position. White's up a pawn, but black has 2 bishops. So it's one of these things. Right. On the other hand, it's not clear how black can increase his potential in this position. Okay, so let's see. So you're saying that
It's very soon now.
Yeah.
Right here, I think. Nope. One more move. Okay.
Okay, knight takes c6. Yeah, that's a shot
This
for
is where
white.
I was looking at it before I came on the air, and it looked like I thought the black was going to. Oh no! What am I talking about? White was doing the knight c6. Yeah, I thought white was better here.
Yes.
I'm
Right,
sorry.
this is a
That
winning
also-
shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a winning shot for white. Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
so black. Let's just show why black couldn't.
Yeah, I got mixed
White.
up. I was just looking at it briefly before I came on air, and I got it backwards.
Oh,
Yeah,
black's
white.
black's queen trapped here. Or what? Black plays queen c7.
Yeah, but this is
Plays
why
a stupid queen.
knight takes c6 was the shot.
Oh,
that I
the
was-
bishop. You're losing your bishop. Never mind. Yeah, this is just awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is just awful. Yeah. So, okay. And in other games, so white's actually going to win a game. And other games drawn, and these games still very much being fought. So, well, Firouzja's the one to look at. How Zhu Wenjun to beat Firouzja after she's
Oh,
had
that would
some
be shocking.
games.
Huh?
That would be shocking. Look at that. She's up a free pawn. This
That
looks
like
winning.
a solid pawn too. Yeah.
And also potential to move your knight to e5.
Right.
Very
Good
strong.
point, Sasha. A dominating knight versus a not so good bishop. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, white has very solid advantage.
I think
Mhm.
so. Yeah.
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 I would play rook e3 here. Is that? Yeah, that is the move that the computer wants as well.
Mm.
So yeah. Anyway, wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
potentially
Good
interesting. Story. Yep.
Yeah. Well, very interesting tournament, and obviously we are going to talk about this more next week as well.
Yes.
In the meantime,
Next-
thank you very much for today's program, and we'll see you same place, same time next week.
Mhm.
Bye-bye,
Yeah.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the game, Ken.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Oh, Niemann is losing to Aline Robers. Wait, hold the presses. Okay.
What tournament is it?
Oh, in the challengers, Neiman is losing to Aline Robers.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, okay. So anyway, all right. Okay.
Okay. Thank you,
Okay,
and
bye
bye-bye.
bye. Thank you. Bye bye.